The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Money 2020. Got a lot to talk about today, but first let me start by giving a shout out to Stephanie Morgan. She gave me a great topic to talk about later on today. Five must-do things when starting your business. She's given us topics for the last couple weeks, and I appreciate it. She's got the most incredible topics. So we have taken these topics and try to put together a nice presentation. But before we get there, I'm going to talk about something else. Let me preface this by saying, usually when I come on, I talk about starting your own business or business type of issues and whatever. But now we're forgetting one large segment of the population, and those are employees. So I want to talk really specifically about employee stuff today, and then I'll transition into the 5 things you have to do when you start your business. But I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I always tell people when they come to our office about how to be a better employee, because let's face it, running a business is not for everybody. Being an employee, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong at all. I mean, I was an employee for a part of my career. I had a great time being an employee. But it's nothing wrong with working for somebody. Everybody can't start their own business. I mean, if everybody had started their own business, you would have no employees. So, but there are some things that I want to address, especially coming from a black family household or a minority household. There are certain things that you carry with you into your career, and it may or may not work for you. But some of those things I like to address because a lot of things we just don't get, like in our homes, our people we come up with, some of the business colleagues that you come in contact with, some of the managers at your job, especially your manager at your job. It seems like there is a code or something where they know what it took to get where they are, right? But there is some secret code where you can't get where they are, and it might take you years and years and years to get where they are, or even to surpass them. So I'm gonna really give you some tips to how you can not only get to where they are, and you can actually surpass where they are, especially when it comes to someone coming from a black household, because there are certain issues that affect black people that don't necessarily affect other people in the work environments. They don't even think about some of the things that really affect us in the work environment. I cannot tell you some of the things that really affected me when I was working. The thing is, the way you walk, talk, dress, whatever. You're constantly doing this self-check, this self-analysis, and it really roots from actually your upbringing, where you come from. And then sometimes, you see others like certain white people at the job. They don't think about these things. They dress a certain way, they look a certain way, and it really doesn't affect them. But the way we dress, the way that we talk, walk, really interact is completely different. So you can't just lump us all into one category and say we should all act a certain way. We should all do certain things a certain way. Some of those things, it just doesn't apply to us, or we really have not learned the game. So and that's a perfect way to really get into my next topic, and it's really surviving the game. I talked about surviving the game as a business person last time, but I'm going to talk about surviving the game as an employee this time. All right. So like I said before, running a business is not for everybody. Everybody just can't do it. And then when you're really an employee, you got to really just do some type of analysis of yourself. And the main question you should ask yourself as an employee is, what do you want? And I'll get to that. What do you really want out of this relationship? Most of the time it's money. But I'm gonna get into some other things. And then I'm gonna talk about the unspoken rules as an employee. If I have time, which I doubt I'm going to have time, because when I did this slide, I really wanted to really get to selling. and negotiations as an employee. I'll probably do that next week. So hang tight next week. I'll talk more about the selling and negotiations as an employee. You definitely want to tune into those topics. Explosive information if you're an employee. All right, so a business. You might not want to start your own business because of risk. There's huge risk of starting your own business, and I don't have to sit there and just enumerate all the risks that it takes as a business owner. You have to put your capital, your life, and your resources, everything on the line as being a business owner. Look, it may not be for you. It might not be the best thing to do. You might choose something that's not right for you, and then you're going to be in a really bad situation. So, of course, being a business owner, that's increased responsibility. Everything is on you. Everything. I mean, let me give you an example. When I used to work for Ernst & Young, you had your IT people. They come over, fix your computer. Yeah, you start your own business, and you are the IT department now. But anyway, my job was great. Your job might be great. I had really good experiences for the most part. And when I was an employee working for anybody, I had great experiences. And then the headaches of really just being a business owner. Do you really want those headaches? And there could be some tremendous headaches. So, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things. They will be. And being an employee might be your best option. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. I have employees, and if they all think that, hey, look, being an employee sucks, then I'm in trouble, right? All right, so, but it's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with stability. That's what you have is, being an employee. You get that regular paycheck. You get, your business is going to be there for the most part, with the exception of things like coronavirus that pops up and that sort of thing. Saving for retirement. You're in a nice, cozy corporate environment. Is pretty stable. There's nothing wrong with those things. Working for someone or your business or working for somebody or some other business is totally nothing wrong with that. So don't you talk to some people and especially when you're online, you see people talking about running their own business. They make it seem like it's not admirable to be an employee. Being an employee is a very admirable thing. Let me just be clear. It is something you should be proud of if you like your job, if you're really moving in your job and you're happy at what you're doing. Or even if you're not so happy, but this is the best thing for you, hey, stay where you are if you really think it's the best thing for you at this particular time. You might be going to school, you might be married, you might be having children. There's a lot of risks to consider if you want to start your own business, but it's nothing wrong with actually giving someone 8-12 hours a day, whatever it is, and really getting paid for your services. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Highly admirable. All right, so as I mentioned before, you have to ask yourself, what do you really want, right? I misspelled harder, but do you want to work hard and think you're going to get more money? May not be the case because from my experience, you can work as hard as you want to. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone is going to recognize you for your hard work. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone is going to promote you. It does not mean that. So you have to go into it knowing that, hey, look, when you've been taught as from your very little person, you've been taught that, hey, look, you work hard or whatever school, you work hard, you get good grades. You work hard, someone will promote you. May not necessarily be the case, right? Because if I'm an employer, I want people working harder, and the hardest people who work for me, basically they bring in more money. So I mean, they're not going to promote everybody that works hard. If that's the case, then everybody would be promoted. But you really got to consider what are you really working for, right? Is it the money? And I'm going to tell you now, if it's the money, it's not necessarily a long-term strategic goal that will work in your favor, right? And I'll get to that. I'll get to that in another minute. Are you working for increased wages? If you're really working just for the money, it's not going to bode well for you when it comes to long-term achievement, long-term success. You can work for people and they will pay you a boatload of money just to stay where you are, right? I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but that might be to your detriment. So, and I can give you some examples of that. But the main thing is, if you're working just for the money, That's not a transferable skill. That's not a transferable talent. Let me explain that to you. Yeah, they might pay you $30,000 or $20,000 over someone who ordinarily do that job, right? But now, if you go somewhere else and try to actually demand that kind of wage, you got to prove why you deserve to get twenty to $30,000 or more than that next person. Now, if you think about it, you might have been in that job for a long time, getting bonuses or raises every year. However, you might be stuck in that job because that same job somewhere else might be paying $20,000 to $30,000 less, right? So if you go to apply to that job, you're already going to have to take a pay cut, and most of the time you're not willing to do that. So you have to be careful when you go to a job and you really think about, I'm just here for the money. It's not a transferable skill. I'll tell you what is a transferable skill in a minute. All right, let me just give you a different perspective, right? Would you rather just get a $10,000, $20,000 bump up, or would you rather have a promotion at, say, $10,000 more, and then obviously, if you stay where you are, you're going to get $15,000 to $20,000 more. I'm going to tell you, from a long-term perspective, it's better if you take the promotion, right? So the reason why that the goal that you want to make as an employee is really to actually have upward mobility in terms of responsibility, in terms of managing people, and some other areas. But the main thing is you have to get into a position where you manage people. That is a transferable skill, right? Because if you manage 5 or 10 people where you are, in most cases, you can manage 5 or 10 people in other places, right? I can't guarantee you if you make $20,000 more today that you can transfer that $20,000 into another job, a similar job somewhere else, because it's based on how much they're willing to pay. So really, you should really move up the corporate ladder by promotion, not money. Money is not an indication of your long-term longevity as far as your career is concerned, but promotion, upward mobility is. So we have to learn these skills of how you move up. That's the key thing. Once you understand how you move up, you can apply certain techniques so that you can move up. And I'll get into probably more of that in next week when I start talking about negotiating, because you can negotiate your upward mobility. But the question is, are you going to have the courage to do it? Are you going to have the know-how and the skill to actually just move up the corporate ladder by understanding the art of negotiation, understanding the art of leadership, understanding what you do on a day-to-day basis determines whether you're going to get that next promotion. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong with moving up in the corporate ranks. If you think about it, the larger the company is, the more sway, the more power, the more influence you're going to have on policy, the way people think. If you're actually moving up that corporate ladder, and the more ability that you're going to have to bring other people in as high as you go up. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. All right, so if you're moving up the corporate ladder by managing people, that is a transferable skill, right? Even if you take the athlete, right? Athletes, they're into it for the money for the most part, right? But even if you take that athlete, the athlete that actually can manage the people on the field, the court, or whatever, are the people who get paid the most, right? If you're an athlete, just a high-paid athlete because you're skillful and that's it, that's not necessarily transferable because someone might not need your talent. But if you're the guy that can manage and motivate other people to exceed their expectations, even on a sports level, that person usually is going to get paid more money than anybody else. If you take LeBron is not only a talented player, but he can manage those on the court. So it's a intangible that is not something that's shared by everybody. So again, moving up that corporate ladder really it's your ability to actually manage. So it's about your how people perceive you. Do they perceive you as a manager? And in no point that you let your guard down and you don't let people see you in that light, right? Um, the person that's likable, for example, that person that's likable is not necessarily a good manager, right? The good manager is who can motivate people, keep people on track, keep people under budget, keep people adhering to a deadline. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a likable person. You know, I'm the employer. I don't care whether the people like you or not. I just don't care about that. Now, if you are offending people or running people away, that's something completely different. But whether you're likable or not as an employee, it doesn't mean much. But you're taught in your house that you want everybody to like you. You want to be liked by everybody. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to move you up the corporate ladder. If you think about your bosses, some of your bosses weren't the most likable people in the world, but they got the job done. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So even your first day in the office, the second day, the first year, you cannot afford to see people. You cannot afford for people to see you as just somebody that's like just one of the fellas or one of the ladies. You cannot allow that to happen, right? And I'm talking to my people of color here. You cannot allow that to happen. You have to maintain your level of professionalism. You have to maintain a certain discipline, and then keep to that discipline. Don't let your guard down, right? And always have people see you as a manager or a potential manager, right? All the jokes and everything. I mean, they're nice if you go out and have a good time. Those jokes and having a good time is really nice. But the point is, you want them to see you as a manager. So I'm going to get into some of the things you can do to do that. So my second perspective is learn how the company makes money. Right? If you learn how the company makes money and you can bring money into the company, right? This increases your value as an employee. Who's going to get fired first? The guy who's just a worker bee, or the guy who brings in money? Come on now. The guy who brings in money is going to be the guy that's always around. And plus, that's a transferable skill. The hard worker is not a transferable skill. You can find hardworking people everywhere, right? But the person that can understand how the company makes money, and then really position yourself into a position where you can help the company make money. Maybe volunteering. You might volunteer to go on a sales pursuit or something. And a lot of times you're going to have to do things for free if you're trying to move up that ladder. But my point is this: learn how it makes money. Sell for the business. You might not even be in a sales job. That doesn't make a difference. I'm not saying you got to be the official salesperson at the job. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that if you learn how they make money, you can pitch something to anybody and one of your customers or whatever to make more money. And if you can do this repeatedly, if you can do this in a way where the company starts to see that, hey, look, having Jane at this job means our gross revenues have increased by 10, 15, whatever it is percent. You're golden. You're gonna move up a lot faster than anybody else. Again, that's a transferable skill. If you can help that company make money, you can go to another company and help that company make money, right? So you got to concentrate on which skills are transferable. Right? I'm not saying you got to stay with that same employer, right? You might use it as leverage and say, hey, look, I got a job someplace else. They're going to make me the manager over this. I'm going to make X amount of money, or sales. They're going to make me head of sales or whatever. Oh, they'll keep you. But those are a couple things that I want you to consider. All right. So again, are you going to be the hard worker or are you going to be the strategic worker? And it goes into your negotiation skills. If you are going to work hard, if you're going to work night and day, you got to have something guaranteed for you at the end of the day. So that goes into negotiation. If I do this, what am I expecting, right? You got to ask the tough questions. Athletes do it all the time. They say, look, if I meet certain goals, I should get paid such and such, right? So that's the way you have to look at yourself as an employee. There's certain code of conduct. I kind of got into this a little earlier. Whether you're likable, that really would make a difference whether you're likable or not. So I wouldn't even sweat it if you get the job done and people don't like you. So what? But your job is to get the job done and get it done efficiently for the business, so the business can do something, save money or make more money. So you always have to look at that code of conduct. Always study what it takes to be a leader. What is leadership? The ability to actually persuade people, the ability to actually get things done. Study leadership, right? This is a serious thing about you. This career is very serious, right? And you gotta have measured steps on how you get from A to B, A to Z in the corporation. All right. So I kind of talked about leadership training. As an employee, you got to take some leadership training. Even if you got to spend money, there's plenty of things on YouTube. There's plenty of things all over the internet about leadership training. If you got to spend money to take training, go spend it on your own dime. Get the company to invest in you, whatever. Sales training. If you're going to learn how the company makes money, then take the sales training. There's certain sales techniques, and you don't have to be a natural born salesperson. That's a myth. There's no such thing as a natural born salesperson. I mean, there's some people that have really nice personalities, of people who have very, very humorous personalities, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate over to sales. So sales are really about techniques, right? So you can actually go on YouTube or whatever. So that's my phone. Let me get back to that person. Sorry about that. Should have turned that down. Okay, so I'll get into negotiating next week. Winning over people. There's plenty of books. How to win people over. These are the things that you got to learn, or you should learn as an employee. Look, I'm only telling you these things because I want to see our people succeed. I want to see us move up the corporate ladder. Everybody can't be a business owner, but you can move up that corporate ladder. It's just a matter how serious you are about it, right? So basically, the same skills that you're going to use in starting your own business are the same skills you can actually deploy as an employee. As a business owner, you do these same exact things, right? It's just the playing field is a little different. The rules are just a little bit different. And I'll get into this more in upcoming weeks. So when we return, I'm going to talk about the 5 things that you have to do if you're starting a business. We're going to take a break. And then I'll come back and I'll give you some information on the 5 things. This is Stephanie's question that she asked, so I'm going to get into this. It may be some surprising things there. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Troy Emory. Here at TD Emory and Associates, we offer a wide variety of business tax services for small and large companies, including corporations and partnerships, nonprofits, and real estate taxation. Also, we offer audits, compilations, and reviews.
Let our knowledgeable staff at TD Emory and Associates help you optimize your tax benefits today. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates.
What is this? The IRS?
We know that your tax preparation requires more than just the basics.
Hi, I'm Troy Emory, and I've spent my entire professional career helping taxpayers in a variety of tax issues. Let us show you how to confront and solve tax issues with every viable option under the law.
Call the tax team at TD Emory and Associates now.
Okay, we're back. Hey, before we get started, let me just give you the phone number to our office. It's 301-474-1040. In case you have any questions, we can answer your questions, or you need services, accounting services, just let us know. We do all kinds of things business related. So we do audits, compilations, we do just a number of things, taxes, whatever. So just give us a call if you ever need us. We're right there, 301-474-1040. Okay, 5 things that you must do when starting your business. Okay. First of all, again, these things are going to be a little bit different than you really think. So I mean, there are going to be some surprises in here, especially the first 2. They're going to be surprises. So and also my 5 things tend to change. So I wouldn't say these are 5 things that are really written in stone. It all depends on where you are in life, right? It all depends on what your perspective is, what things that you're going through. Your 5 things might be different today than they were, say, a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even last week. But right now, these are my 5 things. Okay, you ready? Pray. That's the very first thing. Pray. have some faith. Pray, have faith. I know it sounds cliche-ish. It sounds like something that everybody says, but I don't mean it in words. You ever meet these guys? You meet certain people. They're talking about, oh yeah, I'm a praying soul. I believe in God and I believe in, yeah, but you got to do more than that. You got to live it. You got to live it, right? Because if you're not ready to live it, then you're going to be in serious trouble if you're out there in the business in your own, because there are going to be some down times where all you can do is say, God, why? God, why? I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. But nothing's going to happen with just prayer and faith alone, right? I mean, you hear people talk about how much they're into faith and prayer and everything. Yeah, but where your works, right? You're going to have to. You get finished praying and praying and praying. You're going to have to do something, because just praying alone is just not going to get it, and especially in business, that's just not the way things work. Here's the biggest thing with me. This is the biggest thing with me. Yeah, I mean, there are times where I didn't know where the answer was going to come from. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. But I'm not one of those guys to say that, oh yeah, I know God, right? That's something I'm never ever going to say. You're never going to hear me say, I know God, because I don't, right? You're talking about the person the architect of the whole universe, who put together the sun, the planets and whatever, water, mountains and whatever. I can never comprehend God. Okay, I just can't. All right, so I'm not the guy that says, yeah, God talked to me and I know God. Well, no. You can never hear me say that, because I don't think I could ever comprehend. What I just do is I pray, I get up and work, and something happens. Okay, I know something good is going to happen. That's the extent that I want to think about it. Everything else is above my pay grade. I don't know how God does it. And to be honest with you, I don't need to know how God does it. Okay, I don't need to know that. All I need to know is I'm in need, and I need to get past the situation. Or I have this goal. God, I need you to help me to get past. Give me the strength to get to this goal. Give me the wisdom to get to this goal. Give me the wisdom to get through this meeting. Give me the wisdom to understand the solution. Right? But I'm not going to be the one that tells you that I know him. I know how he operates. I know how things work, because I don't. I just get on my knees and pray, and that's it. And I get up and do some work, and that's it. So I'm not going to try to complicate things. All right. So again, you got to get up after you get finished praying and have your faith and whatever, and you got to do something in a massive way. All right, this is my number. This is my number 2 things. I don't mean do things just a little bit here and there. No. You got to go in large. You got to go in big. Whatever your goal is, multiply it by 10. Right? Multiply it by 100. Whatever. But you're going to find out that your effort to get something done has to be 100 times what you think it's going to be. So increase your activity in a huge way. Have huge goals. If you need $3,000 by the end of the month, $10,000, $100,000 by the end of the month, you better multiply it by about 10 and work at that pace. Okay, because that's the only way you're going to achieve your goals. Right? If you set your goal at 3,000, you're going to come short. You can come at 2,000. But if I know I need 3, or I know I need 10, or I know I need 100,000, I better be shooting for $1 million. Right? I might not get it, but I'm gonna operate at that pace. So this is the second thing that you must do when starting a business. I told you they're not going to be the standard stuff that you hear all the time, right? I'm just going to give you the stuff that worked for me. I mean, I don't know what works for the other guy, but I'm telling you it works for me. Third thing, kill doubt. Yes, doubt is our biggest enemy. So we went through a progression here. We prayed, we got up and did something, but the minute you start doubting, that's it. I have no room for doubt. I come up with an idea, I do it. I don't spend 2 seconds doubting. If I start doubting, I know I'm on the wrong path. I don't care whether I realize whatever I wanted to do was just plain old stupid, right? I'm going to still do it. I'm going to still carry it out because I have no room for doubt. So I'm going to believe in my ideas to the end, and I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to stick with it. Now, if I'm overthinking, that's where the trouble starts. You cannot sit there and overthink things. You have to come up with a decision and move on it, and just do it, and don't doubt yourself. Just do not doubt yourself. Doubt is our enemy, and you got to kill it. You got to destroy it. That's number 3. All right. So number 4, this is more, I guess, more on the business skill level, mastering sales. When it comes to people that look like me, we don't understand when we start business a lot of times that we have to master the sales cycle. I've talked about this on other videos. You have to sell. Everybody around you must sell. There are certain sales techniques that you can study. They're all on the internet. You can pay to take sales techniques, sales training, but whatever you do, you're going to have to sell, right? Let me give you a story. I was actually on a I guess at a meeting just not too long ago, and they said that don't use the word sell. I'm like, really? Yeah, they call it bad words or something like that. Look, listen, you're in business to sell, right? You're not in business to, you can educate, you can teach, you can do whatever you want to do, but you're in business to sell. And don't be afraid or ashamed to sell things. Yeah, if you're a salesman, sell, right? And don't be ashamed to say, hey, look, I'm selling something. Because look, if I teach you, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get paid for it. Right? If I educate you, don't mean I'm gonna. You can use the word educate, teach, whatever, but it doesn't necessarily translate to, hey, look, after I educate you, I expect you to write out that check, right? It doesn't translate like that. But if I tell you, yeah, I'm selling this service, I'm selling this, then people understand. Hey, look, I better bring out the checkbook, the credit card, or whatever, right? Arm, leg, toe, whatever. But what my thing is, don't be afraid to sell. You have to learn the sales cycle. Our businesses fail because we don't master sales, right? Because if you can just sell, that's going to cure any problem that you're having. If you're having cash flow problems, you can just sell your way out of it. If you need to expand, you can sell your way out of it, right? Nothing beats sales. Nothing. So that's number 4. Okay, study. I could have put something like streamline your expenses and all that, but I think we all know that, right? Study successful people. I do that all the time. I'm on YouTube. I got books. I read the most successful people, and I want to understand where did they come from, how did they think. I'm just picking up a lot of things. What kind of money what kind of things they spend their money on. I'm just trying to be a sponge, and I try to study successful people, successful businesses. Now here's another big thing that I study, and I do this quite a bit, is you have to study fundamental business techniques, right? Because a lot of times as faith people, we think that people think like us, and we think that people are going to do the right by us. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all. So you have to do the things that a business person does to actually stay in business. You cannot go on, okay, that person's a nice person, that person is going to come through with a check, that person is going to help me out. Not necessarily the case, right? There are certain business principles that you cannot break, right? You can't give your services away for free, right? Expecting the person is going to say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you on the buy and buy. No, you got to send them an invoice. Right? They don't pay you got to keep reminding them, hey, look, you got this invoice. You got to pick up the phone. Hey, you got an invoice here. Don't be afraid to do it. Just pick up the phone and say, hey, look, is something wrong with the services we provided? Oh, no. Well, we have this invoice here. Can you take care of it? You cannot be afraid to pick up the phone and do it, because if you have these invoices that keep piling up, then you're going to get to a situation where you can't feed your family. So there's certain business techniques that you're going to have to follow. Advertising, marketing, whatever. You got to follow the business techniques. Right? I was on the phone with somebody the other day, and we were talking about selling, and he said that, well, I have to be morally correct with everything that I sell. I have to make sure that what I'm doing is just so right, and he went into this righteousness thing, man. I said, hold it, man, hold it, man. You're in business, okay? The thing is, you sell things for a profit, all right? I think you went a little bit too far now. Now I'm not gonna go out there and sell drugs. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do anything to get people, and get people in a harmful predicament. But I'm saying there are certain things that business people do that you can't get too righteous about it. Because if you're in business to make money, right? You can't think about being everything doesn't have you have to be extremely moral about everything. There are certain things that, hey, look, you're going to have to do. When you see that cheeseburger or some sandwich on an advertisement, that sandwich don't look anything like the sandwich that you buy in the store. But they make it look real pretty, don't they? right? They make everything look real pretty. Well, I mean, if you put the reality, if you try to sell a reality, you may not really be making any money. So, you know, what I'm saying is you have to follow certain business techniques. That's all. So I make study as a daily regiment. I try to learn something business-wise. Again, I study the great people. Sometimes they don't have to be the great people. They can be just, you know, just the average person. You know, I study what they have to say, because everybody has something of value. So I study just about everybody, and I treat everybody as kindly as I possibly can, because I can learn from anybody. I don't care. I can learn from a kid. But anyway, those are the 5 things that I would think that are near and dear to me. Again, those things might change. You ask me next week, and I might give you 5 other things. But faith and get up and do something is probably going to be number 1 and number 2, regardless of how long I live. They're probably going to be number 1 and number 2, because they always have been. So I'm going to give you a little update on the PPP stuff and some other stuff that are going on today. The House actually signed a bill yesterday to extend the loan forgiveness period from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. So we're waiting for the Senate to actually sign that, and President Trump said that he would sign it if it came across his desk. So you might not have that 8-week squeeze. It might be 24 weeks, and I think that's a good thing, because some people got this money and they were in lockdown situations and they could not actually be in business, or they could not necessarily get their revenues up to actually pay people. So I think that's a good thing. But let me stop by saying this one, and I kind of alluded to this a little earlier. This what's going on down in Minnesota. I just want to say that my heart goes out to my brothers and sisters that are out there protesting. My brothers and sisters are doing what they have to do, because people are upset. People are they want justice, and it's only right. It's only right. And I thought that I end my conversation today by saying, look, we've tried just about everything, right? But the thing is, we're going to have to come to a point where we control our own communities. We control the businesses in our communities. We control the policing in our communities. We control the politics in our communities, the hospitals or whatever. We're going to have to take these type of moments, right? Each and every one of us, let's take these moments and let's say, hey, look, let's make ourselves better. Let's make ourselves a better business person. Let's make ourselves a better political leader. Whatever you're doing, whatever your discipline is, I don't care if it's art, let's master that field, right? Let's control the playing field. This is the only way we're gonna really get some justice in this country, because this stuff happens year in, year out. Let's just be honest, right? This has been going on for a long time. You know, I'm hoping that there's some serious change would happen, but why would I even think that when I look at everything that's transpired over the last 10 years? I mean, this stuff has been going on for a long time, right? So until we're at a position we mature in our thinking, and we have to control our industries, we have to control our communities, we take charge. We dictate who's in office. We dictate who gets arrested. We dictate who's on the police force. We dictate all of that. Let's take that moment, right? And let's be better. Let's not be better, right? Let's be the best that we can possibly be, and we control our own destiny. And we're not going to look for anybody else to control our destiny. We're not going to look for anybody to tell us how we should think. So turn off the TV with CNN and everybody else, although it has some good coverage on CNN this morning. But we're not going to let people tell us how we should think about our experience here in America. No, let's pick up the mantle. Let's develop our own communities. Let's get rid of our excuses. Let's live cleaner lives. And let's just take it over. Let's just take control, right? Because that's what the world is really waiting on. They're waiting for us to wake up and just take control. Because this is going to happen next year. Just trust me. End of this year, end of next month, whatever, we're going to see this again. We're going to see a young man or a young woman die when they don't need to die. We're going to see it. So let's not fool ourselves. Let's make ourselves better. Let's make ourselves the best that we can possibly be, and let's just take it over. On that, I'm gonna end, and hopefully I haven't scared you away. Let's talk next week. I'll see you next week. Again, our phone number at the office is 301-474-1040. Until next week, take care. Hi, I'm Troy Emory. Here at TD Emory and Associates, we offer a wide variety of business tax services for small and large companies, including corporations and partnerships, nonprofits, and real estate taxation. Also, we offer audits, compilations, and reviews.
Let our knowledgeable staff at TD Emory and Associates help you optimize your tax benefits today. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates. Dependable, accurate, trustworthy. TD Emory and Associates.
What is this? The IRS?
We know that your tax preparation requires more than just the basics.
Hi, I'm Troy Emory, and I've spent my entire professional career helping taxpayers in a variety of tax issues. Let us show you how to confront and solve tax issues with every viable option under the law.
Call the tax